Administrators at a charter school in Brunswick County told one mother her son's hair is too long and needs to be cut before he can return to class.
That mother says cutting his hair would be against their Native American heritage. WECT's Zach Solon spoke with the family today with the policy at classical charter schools of Leland in place. Zach, the mom says this comes down to discrimination.
Yes, Fran. She's not the only one who feels that way. The ACLU is now getting involved as well. Logan Lomboy is a first grader at classical charter schools of Leland. His mother Ashley says his long hair is a family tradition.
We are Waccamaw from the Waccamaw Siouan tribe. It's a part of our culture to have long hair. We understood starting the school that, we had to keep the hair off the ears and off the collar, in which we've been doing that with a bun. But they said that the bun is now considered a fad.
However, school administrators told Lomboy her son's hair must be cut to be in line with the school's policy by March 29th. Her original request for the Board of Trustees to reconsider was denied, but then she was told they would hold a meeting about her family's situation. No word on when that meeting will be, but Lomboy says it shouldn't have been an issue to begin with.
In a time where as Waccamaw Siouan people and natives across the state, we have been working to revitalize our culture. Long hair is a part of that, and it's a part of resiliency for our people. And Logan feels confident in his hair. Every time I braid his hair, he's like, "Mommy, I love my braids."
The ACLU of North Carolina has also sent a letter to the school warning that the current policy discriminates against Lomboy and other Native American students.
The problem here, at least in our understanding, is not necessarily that there is any student code of conduct. It's that the way this code of conduct is being interpreted and applied makes this student's access to a public school contingent on his willingness to violate his own religious beliefs.
As the Lomboy family wonders what will happen next.
If the school declines what we have requested in the grievance and doesn't issue that back and allow him to be able to keep his hair long, we will be having to move schools. We would not sacrifice our culture to attend the school.
We reached out to school administrators and trustees for comment but have not heard back. Classical charter schools was also the subject of a federal appeals court ruling last year in a case where judges ruled that the school could not require girls to wear skirts and had to abide by the same sex discrimination laws as non-charter public schools. Zach Solon, WECT News.
The head of classical charter schools of Leland responds to parents' concerns about discrimination. Ashley Lomboy tells us her son Logan was told to cut his long hair, which she says would go against the family's Native American culture and religious beliefs. The school's handbook says male students cannot have long hair or styles that are considered, quote, faddish. Baker Mitchell manages the school and says he considers a man bun hairstyle like Logan's to be a fad.
They noticed a whole group of white kids coming up with man buns. That's definitely a fad. There's no question about that. Like 2 years ago, you wouldn't see a white kid in a man bun anywhere. Then all of a sudden, you've got all these kids running around with man buns. So you say, okay, that's a fad.
The school has relaxed enforcement of the grooming policy for the rest of this school year, but Mitchell says it will be enforced next year unless the Board of Trustees changes the policy.
A group of parents calls on a local charter school to reconsider its grooming policy for students.
Those parents say the policy discriminates against Native American cultures and religious beliefs. WECT's Zach Solon met with parents today as they rallied before the Board of Trustees meeting for Classical Charter Schools of America. Zach, the board did not discuss its grooming policy at today's meeting.
That's right, Fran. The school has said it will relax its grooming policy through the rest of this school year. But parents who have been told their children are in violation of the policy are wondering what to do next. The controversy continues at classical charter schools of Leland. Ashley Lomboy says the school told her that her son Logan's hair was too long. Even though he wears it in a bun to attend school, administrators have said this is considered a fad and violates the school's grooming policy. Lomboy says Logan's hair is part of their Native American culture.
Our culture and our traditions is such a vibrant part of our people. We are going through a really strong cultural revitalization, and we're encouraging, and I've raised my son to enjoy his long hair and understand what its purpose is and why it's important for him to do that.
Tammy Jump says her grandson Edward faces a similar problem at classical charter schools of Whiteville.
All of a sudden, a month ago, we are told that he has to cut his hair. And he had been wearing it in a man bun so that we fit into their criteria, so it weren't on his neck or anything like that. And we just didn't understand why after 2 years you're going to give us a 2-week notice he's got to cut his hair.
The ACLU says the policy is discriminatory as well, and Lomboy agrees.
I'm a veteran. I fought for this country, for our right to have religious freedom, and the school has denied us from having that here.
She and Jump want the school board to reconsider its policy soon so they can make a decision about their children's future.
It's a center of pride that we have done in our Native American culture forever, and we're going to stick by our culture, and we don't think that we need to be sent back to boarding school days where they took our language and took our identity.
The board did not discuss the grooming policy at its meeting Thursday despite the larger than normal crowd, but Lomboy says the decision should be simple.
It should not be where we as parents have to fight for our religious freedoms in schools just so we can attend.
Baker Mitchell manages classical charter schools. He and members of the Board of Trustees declined to speak with us on camera. Zach Solon, WECT News.
New details tonight on a controversial policy at some area charter schools.
The Classical Charter Schools of America Board of Trustees tweaked its grooming standards for male students today, but some say it still discriminates against Native Americans. WECT's Zach Solon heard from board members and met with parents at today's board meeting. Zach, one mother says the change does not do enough to make her family feel welcomed at that school.
That's right, Fran. Ashley Lomboy says even with today's change, it does little to recognize her son's Native American culture and religion. Ashley Lomboy's son Logan is a student at Classical Charter Schools of Leland. Administrators told Lomboy earlier this year that Logan's hair was too long and needed to be cut to be in line with the school's grooming standards. She said those standards discriminate against her family's Native American culture and religious beliefs.
I wouldn't have thought that I would need to be fighting this hard to educate and to have my children and other children be included in a public school system. It is a school of choice, but every school is a choice.
After the school's grooming policy drew heavy criticism from both parents and the ACLU, the Classical Charter Schools Board of Trustees voted unanimously Thursday to make one change to the policy. The school now requires boys' hair to be clean and off the collar as opposed to neatly trimmed. Board member Chad Adams explains the change.
It addresses the issue that we've been concerned about, that the parents have expressed concerns about. And I think it allows us to move forward and do what we're primarily here to do, which is educate kids.
Lomboy says the change is minor and does not do enough to protect Native American students and their families.
I don't believe that the changes that they made are going to really be inclusive of Indigenous kids. I think it was a step of acknowledging that there are some changes that need to be made, but did not go far enough to make us feel welcomed at the school.
Lomboy says she will likely find another school for her kids.
His hair is a part of him. It's nothing that we ever even thought about, to be quite honest, because it's just a part of our way of life. And the reason why we're even doing this is because he loves the school, and we hope that by educating that they would make the changes necessary. That didn't happen fully today.
She remains concerned about how the policy will impact others down the road. The new policy, approved today, goes into effect right away. Baker Mitchell, the founder of the organization that manages classical charter schools, declined to comment on camera. Zach Solon, WECT News.